Jack is 63, lives just outside Tampa. He retired 2 years ago with $500,000 in his IRA. He did what most smart people do. He looked at the yields. He saw SPYI paying almost 12%. He saw GPIX paying about 8%. The math seemed obvious. 12 beats 8 every single time. So Jack put everything into SPYI, and for a while it felt great. Big monthly checks coming in like clockwork, bigger than he ever expected. But here's what Jack didn't see coming. His neighbor Gloria, same age, same $500,000, she chose GPIX, the fund paying 3.5% less. And after 1 full year, Gloria's total portfolio was worth roughly $15,000 more than Jack's. More money, less yield. How is that even possible? That's exactly what this video is about. SPYI versus GPIX, side by side, dollar by dollar. By the end, you'll understand exactly why a lower yield can put more money in your pocket. And the part most people miss has nothing to do with risk, nothing to do with bad management. It comes down to one thing most yield chasers never even check. Quick note, I'm not a financial advisor or government employee. Everything here is for educational purposes only. For your specific situation, always check with a qualified professional. Now, let me show you what Jack missed. Under the hood, 2 engines, 2 philosophies. To understand why Gloria's 8% beat Jack's 12%, you need to see how these 2 funds actually make money. Both funds own the S&P 500, same stocks, same index, but they use completely different strategies to generate your income. Think of it like 2 car engines, same fuel, same road, but one engine is built for raw power, the other is built for distance. SPYI, that's the NEOS fund, uses a full portfolio overwrite. They sell calls on the entire portfolio. Every stock gets covered. Now, what does that mean in plain English? It means SPYI squeezes out every dollar of premium income it can. That's why the yield is almost 12%, maximum cash every single month. But here's the trade-off nobody tells you about. When you sell calls on everything, you cap your upside. When the market goes up, SPYI only captures about 70 to 75% of that gain. The rest gets clipped off to pay for those big monthly checks. Now, GPIX, Goldman Sachs, does something totally different. They only sell calls on 25 to 75% of the portfolio. The rest stays uncapped, free to run. When the market is hot, Goldman pulls back. They might only cover 25%. They let the other 75% ride the entire rally. When the market gets choppy, they cover more, up to 75%. More income, more protection, exactly when you need it. The result, GPIX captures roughly 85 to 90% of the market's upside. That's 15 to 20% more growth than SPYI keeps. So here's the difference in one sentence. SPYI trades growth for income. GPIX keeps most of the growth and still pays you. Now you understand the engines, but strategy alone doesn't settle this. There are 3 specific numbers that do, and the first one surprises most people. The scorecard. Yield, total return, and the fee gap nobody mentions. Let's put these 2 funds on a scorecard. 3 categories, 1 clear winner in each. Category 1, yield. No contest. SPYI wins this one easily. It pays roughly 11 to 12%. GPIX pays about 8 to 8.5%. On a $500,000 portfolio, that's a real difference. SPYI gives you roughly $59,000 a year in income. GPIX gives you about $40,000.
That's almost $19,000 more from SPYI every year. And I get it. If you're retired and living off that income, $19,000 is not a small number. That's groceries, that's insurance, that's peace of mind. So if you stopped right here, you'd say SPYI wins. Case closed. But smart retirees don't stop at yield. They look at the next number too. Category 2, total return. This is where the story completely flips. Total return means everything combined, your yield plus your growth, the full picture. GPIX has delivered roughly 23% total return since inception. SPYI has delivered roughly 20%. That 3-point gap sounds small, but on $500,000, 3% is $15,000 in 1 year. And here's why that matters even more over time. Growth compounds, yield does not. The income SPYI pays you today, it's in your checking account, gone, spent. The growth GPIX keeps inside the fund, it earns more growth next year and more the year after that. Let me make that real. If GPIX keeps just 3% more growth inside the fund each year, after 10 years, that's not just 30% more. It's closer to 34% because each year's growth earns growth on top of it. On $500,000, that's an extra $17,000 you never had to do anything for. It just grew. Here's the myth. Higher yield means more money in retirement. Here's the truth. Total return is yield plus growth, and growth compounds. Yield alone does not build wealth. Total return does. Category 3. Fees. SPYI charges 0.68%. GPIX charges 0.29%. Sounds like a tiny difference, right? Let me put a dollar sign on it. On a $500,000 portfolio, that gap costs you about $1,950 every single year, straight out of your returns. You never see it, you never feel it, but it's gone. Over 10 years, that's roughly $20,000 in fees alone, and when you add the compounding you lost on that money, it's even worse. So the scorecard reads like this. Yield, SPYI. Total return, GPIX. Fees, GPIX. 2-to-1. Before I show you the tax piece, drop a comment right now. Are you using SPYI, GPIX, or something else for your retirement income? I read every single comment, and I genuinely want to know what's working for you. Now, most comparison videos stop right here, but there's one more factor that changes the entire answer depending on your specific situation. The tax edge and the retirement stage that changes everything. Both of these funds are built to protect you from unnecessary taxes, and they use two powerful tools to do it. Tool 1, Section 1256 contracts. These are index options that get special tax treatment. 60% of the gains are taxed at the lower long-term rate, 40% at the short-term rate, even if the fund held them for less than 1 year. That 60-40 split can save you real money compared to a fund that generates all ordinary income. Tool 2, Return of capital. Both funds classify a portion of their distributions as return of capital. That means those payments are not taxed as income in the year you receive them. Instead, they reduce your cost basis. You only pay taxes later when you sell. Now, here's where GPIX pulls ahead. Historically, 85 to 95% of GPIX's distributions come back as return of capital. That means almost all of your monthly checks are tax deferred. That's a big deal in a taxable brokerage account. SPYI uses return of capital too, but it leans harder on the 1256 split and active tax loss harvesting. Both approaches work, both are smart, but in a taxable account, GPIX's heavier return of capital gives it an edge. Now here's the part nobody talks about. If your money is in an IRA or Roth, the tax treatment doesn't matter. The account itself handles the taxes. Inside a tax shelter, what actually matters is total return and fees. And on both of those, GPIX wins. But, and this is a big but, your retirement stage changes the entire answer. If you are in the drawdown phase right now, if your monthly bills depend on those checks, if your electric bill and groceries come from your portfolio every single month, then SPYI's 12% yield is doing exactly what you need it to do. You cannot eat growth. You can eat yield. But if you're still building, if you have 5 or 10 or 15 years before you need that income, then GPIX gives you lower fees, stronger growth, and more compounding power. Every dollar that stays invested today earns more dollars tomorrow. And here's what the smartest retirees I've talked to actually do. They use both. The verdict: which fund wins your retirement? Final scorecard: 4 categories. Yield: SPYI wins. Total return: GPIX wins. Fees: GPIX wins. Tax efficiency: roughly even with a slight edge to GPIX in taxable accounts. 3-to-1, GPIX. But the real answer is not which fund is better, it's which fund fits where you are right now. Think of your retirement portfolio like 3 buckets. Bucket 1 is your foundation. That's your core index fund, your VOO or VTI. You don't touch it. You let it grow for decades. Bucket 2 is your growth engine. That's where GPIX lives.
You reinvest the dividends when you don't need them, let compounding do the heavy lifting, and when the time comes, you move that money into bucket 3. Bucket 3 is your income engine. That's where SPYI lives. 12% yield, monthly checks, straight to your bank account, paying your bills today. Say you split that $500,000 evenly, $250 in GPIX growing at roughly 23% total return, $250 in SPYI paying you roughly $2,500 a month in income. Growth on one side, cash flow on the other, working together. The smart move is not picking one over the other, it's knowing when each one belongs in your plan. Yield pays the bills, total return keeps the lights on for life. If someone you know is deciding between these two funds right now, share this video with them. It could save them from chasing yield and missing the bigger picture. Now, I want to hear from you. Which fund fits your retirement right now? SPYI, GPIX, or both? Tell me in the comments.